Okay, so I said I'd be back again really quick. Well, I meant it. Now, I often goof myself up when I try to record more than one journal at a time, but I'm doing it. I gotta see how this next one goes. Okay, so this is from 5/11, the second one of that day, written right after the first one, and the day was to Crocodile. Wow, part one was intense, a real surprise. I don't believe a journal has ever come through quite that way. If you've been with me a while, then you'll know what I mean. It's pretty simple. I'm a gentle, easygoing sort, not generally known as that intense or for making statements like that. So let's see where this goes, if it continues like that or not. Now, naturally, for a part two, it's assumed you've completed part one. So if you haven't, I'll link you over to it. Please, don't start with this one. So now that you've given some earnest consideration to what part one has to offer, where are you with that? How open are you, really? Don't fool yourself. Above all, don't play games with yourself. Mind will just eat that stuff up, and you'll be the loser in the end. So do be earnest. It's mandatory to know, if not who you are, as most of us don't know that, then at least who you're not. We may be getting close to why in Asia there's the tradition of neti-neti. Not this, not that. Of defining things not by what they are, but by what they are not. You are not body, not mind. I'll spend one moment, well, one paragraph, to explain that, of course, you're both body and mind. You're everything, so how could you not be, right? It's all one. What is meant is that these are really the very least of who you are. They are not your identity. They're more like the buttons on your shirt, the laces on your shoes. They're just not suitable material with which to identify as you. Now that you know, or are at least fully open to the possibility that you are divine, what next? No, we don't go at it that way. Why not? Have a look. What next is a mind question, if there ever was one. We are getting completely out from under mind's domination, so we'll be alert all the way through for mind's ways and tricks. Self and now. That's it. Just being and abiding in heart, living from there. Whenever mind pipes up with something like, what now, or what's next, give it the answer. Self and now, and living from heart. Some may even make this into their mantra for a time. Hey, whatever works. Self and now. This will keep you out of mind's clutches in so many situations. All you need do is to remember it, to, in effect, program it into mind. We are in process of fully taking our power back. Now, sure, these may be baby steps or seem that way, but in reality, they are not. They are serious steps indeed. We all grow up with programmed minds. It's just the way of society in today's world. No big deal. What we must recognize, however, is that our beliefs are that which directly creates our reality. And with all that programming in there, no wonder things are in such a mess. So it's incumbent on us to choose new beliefs and to reprogram the mind with those beliefs of our choice. We don't have to do direct combat to fight the beliefs that were programmed in. Not at all. All we need to do is use our free will to pick out some new ones. When we begin to install the new ones, the old ones will come rushing up, trying to prevent that or to kick the new guys out. Well, sounds like a mess, doesn't it? This is actually to our advantage. Those of us wise enough to be in heart and abiding in now and in self. We will be self-observing. It's the natural consequence of a now and self-focus, watching self. Due to this posture, we will see just exactly what some of that old programming was. It will be what comes up, trying to convince us that our new beliefs are garbage, that they're simply not true. You see? It's a good thing. Most of our beliefs are hidden away in the subconscious, where we can't easily access them. So when they come up, it's a benefit, it's a gift. What to do? Does anyone have an answer? Give yourself a moment. Okay, now look at your answer. What to do? What is it? If it is anything at all besides self and now, abiding in heart, then you just caught mind outstretching its hand to control you. No big deal. Step back from it another pace and just look. Back to heart. Come back to now. It turns out then that just by choosing our new beliefs, such as I am divine, the old beliefs will come to our attention. That is the ideal time to look them straight in the eye and say, oh, no, you don't. We put our focus back on strengthening our new belief. In other words, just turn your attention back to your new belief, and that will help usher the old belief out. It will happen naturally if we persist. What you give attention to, you feed. What you ignore, you starve. It's really very simple. Feed the good stuff, starve the mind-based junk, and you're off to a good start. You, being divine, have a power that resides in your attention, of which you're likely not aware. Pretty much no one is, so don't feel alone. If you feel good about this part so far, then let's continue. If you don't, then maybe go back over it a few times with focus in heart. It will make a difference. Make way for that openness that is so necessary to this work. Okay, be centered within. Just get in there and be still for a moment or two. Take some deep breaths. Count them if you like. Don't worry about mind. It really doesn't matter what it does as long as you keep focus within. Just ignore it. Now that you are centered, imagine a line that extends up and down from heart, straight down into the deep earth and up to the heavens. sit or stand there and just feel this imaginary line. Make it straight. It may start off pencil width, but as you focus, you'll likely feel it widen. I won't draw any pictures for you, so you can get your own feel of what it's like. Straight up, straight down, right on through the body. It's not in 3D, so the body doesn't slow it down a bit. This tends to activate your chakras, your energy centers. It moves energy, or enables it to move. You are much more in a state of flux or flow than you are anything solid at all. You're not solid. Besides, there is no such thing as a solid. It's a myth. We have a science which has established this as fact, since the atom is 99.9999 yada 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 % empty. Atoms are empty. So, be flow. Feel the energy move or pulsate. Do all you can, whatever comes to heart, to step out of seeing yourself as your body, of seeing yourself in that shape. That too is a lie. It's a myth. You are not in the body, remember? It is in you. So expand out. Come on, expand out. Be a big balloon. Be huge. Be the whole world. Why not? Where was I? How can you be the body if it has 5 major chakras above the body's head? Hello, you have 12, not 7. How can you be the body if you do not die? The body does. You don't. You are not that. Let that image go. Replace it. This is one more old, worn-out belief that we're letting go. It's the quite natural consequence of choosing to identify with consciousness, with our divine nature. Obviously, the divine isn't in the shape of your form, nor rather it is, but it is also the form of every other being there is, and everything else too. So, while you go about being all of that, quite naturally the self-image as the body, as one body, will fade after it gives a good fight to resist the change. So, you contain the body. How are you doing with that one? These things are important. They may seem silly or even inconsequential, but they are not. They will prove themselves to you if you persist, and you can have fun with it. What you're doing is shifting identity, and it's no small thing. It's one of the main things the mind believes in. So shifting it requires concerted intent. That's where earnestness comes in. You have to persist. Now, success won't be what the mind thinks it is either. So be alert for that. Mind will pipe up at some point, putting you down, telling you what a lousy job you're doing, how you're having so little success in this, that, or the other. Now let's step back and look at that, shall we? We know enough about mind already, and we've stepped back from it at least enough to know it's not our identity, to catch mind out here. What might success look like? How about fleeting moments where, for just a second or two, you found some peace? What about a few seconds of a quiet mind here and there? What about catching yourself being self-observant? These things, when they happen at first, are fleeting. They'll likely happen many times before you actually notice any of them, so be alert. Self and now will deliver it if you stick with them. Mind's strategy is to be bossy and in charge, to manipulate the heck out of you and never let up, not even when you lay down to sleep. We're all acquainted with that. Well, let's take note of it and file it away in heart. We're still reprogramming mind, remember? One of the ways we're doing that is to show it to itself. No, it won't like it, not a bit, but it's a natural part of the process, so do be earnest. Self and now. Okay, so we know how mind is. That means we know what to watch for as we self-observe. It doesn't hurt to remind the self that you are divine, to claim that divine nature. This too is part and parcel of your reprogramming work. On the one hand, what you are. On the other, what you are not. They work quite well together. So, back to our earlier scene where mind had piped up with all sorts of self-criticism, telling you what a lousy job you're doing, how you're not succeeding at all. Remember? The first thing the observant one will notice is that that is clearly not heart. It is mind. That will be the signal to just ignore. So, focus will return back to heart, to self and now. Being in heart comes with many benefits, many perks. For one, your vision will be shifting out of mind's grasp and into much lighter territory. No longer will you automatically bow down under mind's self-abuse. You've gotten used to it. You don't know what it's like to be without it, but you will. Instead, head held high, you simply recognize the old cogitator up to his tricks, trying to manipulate you, as he believes is his natural right. Ah, but you won't bite. You won't believe the lie, at least not as often as you did before, which is likely somewhere around 100% of the time, huh? You might not catch it out that often at first, but catch it you will. There will definitely be times when you spot what is happening. Most often after it's over, but that's fine too. That's just how it works. And heart just knows that. Your whole sense of self-worth is shifting. It will likely feel somewhat uncomfortable, and massively so at times when it seems the whole rug has been pulled out from under you. Before, you at least knew what to do, or thought you did. You believed you did. Now, that's just not so anymore. You often simply don't know, and it feels strange. Now, that's okay, of course. Everything is. There's another belief you may be programming in, or a possibility to which you need to be open. that everything is okay. So, the opportunities to be alert and aware of the reprogramming you're doing are plentiful. Don't let mind grab this, though, or it will just use it as yet another excuse to jackboot it over you. You are the divine. You are accepting no abuse. None. As you go about programming yourself to your chosen beliefs, based on your newly accepted divine identity, you are quicker and quicker to notice when mind is being abusive. This is a mark of success. It'll feel like crap, sure, and mind will be tempted to wish things were some other way than this, but this is success. Quicker and quicker to notice when mind is being abusive. How is that? More and more you'll find the self, the divine self, holding its head up. It will be feeling divine. When feeling divine, we do not accept crap from any quarter, including the misbehaving mind. We simply know we are worthy of beautiful treatment, of love even. We know we don't need to accept any crap. Please notice this is also part and parcel of learning to love the self. Self and now. Always self and now. Again and again, and be ready for this, mind will co-opt whatever strategy you adopt, whatever you try to do. That's why it's important not to make these things into practices. Self and now focus will see you through, but first, you've got to program it in. And that takes courage and determination. It takes earnestness. Know you are divine, my friend. No joke. When you are both divine and earnest, what can possibly stand in your way? Seriously, I ask you. Get a sense of the true, of the divine self-confidence that flows in this. Now, that's not the best word for it, but you get my drift. The divine has no need of self-confidence, being whole and complete, and all that is. Well, you are that. It will take some effort to own this, your own divinity. We are programmed to lack self-worth. It is based on our acceptance of the programming that we allow the mind to be so perpetually self-abusive. We take all kinds of crap from it due to this faulty programming, into feeling worthless, useless, inept, fill in the blank. It makes us tend to agree with mind's negative assessment of us. Well, no more. Now that you are beginning to take on your true divine nature, you simply know better. It comes from within. And the more time you spend heart-focused or heart-centered, the more such abuse will fall away like water off a duck's back. It won't stick, because it can't. Not when you truly know who you are, when you own it. So, success, in this case, will look like you spotting mind at its abuse. And you'll generally notice it afterward, but That's fine. No rush. Your earnestness guarantees that you will notice more and more often until finally you catch mind in action right when it's hurling its self-abuse. And you just say no. No more. And you turn away, ignoring all mind has to say. Self and now. Stick with these. Mind won't like it, but TS. As you stay centered, you will receive internal guidance as well. Now, it's been coming all along, actually, but no one with an active mind can hear it, can hear the still, small voice. It simply refuses to shout mind down. So, mind always wins until our earnest heart kicks in and we start waking up. It's the silence that is perhaps most precious of all. For it is in that special, alive quietness, that emptiness there, where we're just in be mode, that suddenly, at some point, we notice a powerful intuition. It's really the still small voice, the one that's been speaking all along, the one you were in no shape to hear, being the self-appointed victim of mind. So, increasing intuition, quiet inner guidance is also what success looks like here. Once you've carved out your divine identity and stepped away from mind enough to enjoy bits of quiet. This is truly precious. Now you're set to begin to really love the self, something no Westerners are taught to do. Yes, we're taught quite the opposite. It isn't until we make the connection with this quiet inner guidance that we're really ready to meet the self on a much deeper level. Self-love of the divine sort isn't something handled in any way by mind. It's all fine to know you ought to love the self, and perfectly useless. It's not what this is about. How does Source, how does God love us? How does she love the little bird, the lovely flower, the star, the graceful brook? And how does she love you? We've got to enter into divine love, not at all the human sort, which is nice enough in its own way. It's just not what this is about. It's not in the same league. How do you love Source? How warmly does your heart connect to that? Okay, how about the reality, or the possibility, remember, that you are that? You see, Source is love, and you are that. So, it's not that you must love the self. You simply are love. This is a really far stretch for the mind. It's too far. So it helps by forcing you inside, deeper within, much deeper into heart. So, just by shifting your identity out of mind, out of body, into the divine, you are noticing powerful changes taking place. You are shifting. It's likely comfortable, but also uncomfortable by stages at different times. There's no accounting for how you feel at any time either. It's likely all over the place. And yes, that's fine. It's all fine. Really and truly, your days of suffering are or can be quite over. That's not to say there won't be any more pain. And if you hear someone promise that, run the other way fast. Of course there is pain as well as pleasure in 3D life. What's different isn't life, it's you. You have changed. You just aren't the same anymore. You don't know what, or who you are either, but you begin to know that you are not who you thought you were, for sure. Now it's mighty awkward. Why? Well, take a look at that. At what aspect of you is feeling that? It's mind feeling awkward. Maybe even feeling miserable at times, my friend. It's not you, that's for sure. Mind is in process of being dethroned, and it doesn't like it, not one bit. So far, you've gone through life so identified with the mind that you simply believed all it had to say to you. If it was upset, you were upset, and you acted on it. You believed the lie that you were just mind. You'll get the relief You'll get the relief the sooner you step back more and more from identifying with mind. This is not a pleasant trip for mind. Not this first part, where it has to learn the new ropes and to give over its leadership power to heart. It doesn't want to, plain and simple. But if you're earnest, it will happen as you choose. Just persist. This is a huge assignment right here. Between parts 1 and 2, you've been given not just a plan or strategy, but a whole new way of being, of seeing the self. It's daunting, especially to mind. Yet, during this whole process, you'll be reprogramming the mind with new beliefs, personally chosen by you. No more of this garbage we all picked up or had forced on us in school. So, even though mind will be fighting you all the way at first, you'll also be taming it. You'll be working directly in the garden of belief by planting your new chosen belief flowers. That will cause all of the subconscious beliefs to come rushing to the surface to do battle with the interlopers, only to their demise. So, all the while, you'll be taming and training the mind, making it over into something you can finally live with in peace. There's a beautiful thought, huh? A mind at peace with itself? Well, it is possible. I can tell you that for sure. Slowly but surely, you're reclaiming the territory of your own mind. Like a misbehaving puppy, you'll be setting it straight. And you'll be delighted to find at some point that it wants to please you just as much as the puppy does. Things are one heck of a lot better than they appear at this time, my friends. Let your beautiful earnestness carry you through this dark walk. It can truly be called the walk through the valley of the shadow of death. It is the old self, the false self, that is in process of dying here, the one that was programmed from birth. But never fear, heart will carry you through. Remember, always recall that you are the divine. You are source. Crazy as it sounds, don't worry about that. Get back down into heart with you, where it doesn't sound the least bit crazy. And rejoice every time that you notice heart or you notice mind at work. Each time you're there, observant, to notice either one in action, there's a pat on the back. That's success. Even if it comes in fleeting seconds at first and only 3 days after the fight with your spouse, at least it comes, right? Hey, take the lemon, brew some good lemonade. Self and now. Heart and earnestness. The qualities are simple. The directions actually few. These are all mostly hints pointing you in the right direction, which would be silence in heart. That's where your true inner tuition, your true guidance abides. That's where you're crowned with your new divine identity. For real, no joke. It won't be long before the miracles will follow. The shining, the glowing halo and aura and the rest of it. But the thing is, don't expect anything at all. Why not? Come on, you tell me, why not? That would be the mind, right? Mind cannot be allowed to co-opt this, your awakening. If you look around, I'm sure you'll see more than a few minds, egos who have taken enlightenment to themselves. That's why I call it awakening instead. Enlightenment, it sounds so very final, like it's a state to be reached, huh? Well, it's not. Not in infinity and eternity. Self and now. Namaste.